we send money out, because that would create all kinds of problems for us under money laundering. It would look too suspicious to Pershing. They'd be, it would look like we were laundering money or something. So we can't do that. But what we can do is we can buy you foreign currencies to facilitate future purchases of foreign stocks and foreign bonds. And, that's what we charge. And generally, if you go to a bank, if you go to an actual bank, they're going to charge you more. But 9% is ridiculous. That's what you pay at the airport,
Right, exactly.
And it's okay to pay 9% when you're talking about $100, $200. But if you're going to talk about investments, you can't do that. That's a year's worth of returns,
Exactly. But outside of your firm, then, where can a person go to trade large amounts of physical cash for physical cash?
Well, if you went to I can't believe that a bank. I would shop around. I can't believe the banks are charging that much. There's got to be a bank that charges less than that. There's got to. That seems absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, basically, they're just retail oriented. I specifically asked them, look, can I get a negotiation of the rate for, depending on how large the transaction is? And the answer came back, no. They're strictly retail oriented.
Well, what are you going to do with the cash, though?
Well, I'm going to hold it just like I'm holding. In other words, I have paper dollars.
Then why not? If you're going to hold it, if you're going to hold it, why not open an account with us and buy and hold it in the form of a bond, buy a Canadian, Treasury or something? Well, why not earn some interest?
I do that too. I'm just talking about the portion of my personal wealth that is in paper currency. Yeah, I would rather hold that in Canadian dollars at this point in time
but you should
than
at least
American
hold
dollars.
it. Right, but you should hold it in an interest-bearing form. If you had U.S. dollars, would you just shove them under your mattress?
No, I do hold it in an interest-bearing form as well. But I don't know about you, but anything can happen in this country.
What you should do, my advice is for that kind of money, right? When you want to have something, under your mattress, stored in your house, that's what gold coins are for. That's what silver coins are for. So if you're going to stick something under your mattress, put gold there or silver. But if you're going to hold paper, you might as well at least hold it in an interest-bearing form. See, if you hold gold, there's no way to get interest on it. So that's what you want to keep in your house, and silver coins. Believe me, if things get bad, it'll probably be easier to spend those.
Well, that is part of this principle.
And here's what you can do. Here's something that you can do. Let's say you send Canadian dollars to me. Let's say I buy you $50,000 worth of Canadian government bonds that pay interest. When they pay interest, they will pay interest into your account in Canadian dollars, and you can withdraw that interest. I can wire you those Canadian dollars into your bank account. You can withdraw them and do whatever you want with them. So you can get smaller quantities of Canadian dollars for free if you just buy a Canadian stock or bond and tell the broker at Euro Pacific Capital that you want to keep your dividends in Canadian money, and we'll do it.
Okay.
And then you'll get them for free.
Idea.
And there's no transaction cost.
What about when I want to actually? One of the things I'm envisioning, obviously it's a long shot, but one of the things I'm envisioning is this hyperinflation scenario does take place, and you start taking your money down to the local supermarket, and they say, well, we're not accepting dollars right now because we have no idea what they're worth. It keeps fluctuating.
Yeah, well, that's what I think is going to happen in the future, which is going to mean that local supermarket is not going to be able to officially say that because the government will make it illegal for that supermarket to not take dollars, which means the supermarket will not be selling anything. If you want to buy anything, you'll have to go into the alley behind the supermarket where the illegal black market is, where the supermarket is selling stuff illegally for gold or silver coins. That's the kind of stuff that happens.
And they'll say, look, we're not taking dollars right now. And then I go, well,
no, they won't. They won't say that because it'll be illegal. What
no,
they'll
I'm talking about in the illegal part behind the store.
Oh, yeah, of course. They won't take dollars, right.
They won't take dollars. And I'll say, well, will you take these Canadian dollars? And they'll say, oh, yes, we accept Canadian dollars.
They might. Yes, they might. But I'm sure they'll take, U.S. silver coins or stuff like that. But who knows? But, yeah, and you can have some foreign cash. Maybe they'll take euros. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for the call, and hopefully we can work together on solve your problem.
Thank you, too.
Okay, great. Next up is Paul in Virginia.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And also, thanks for being a patriot. My question is, if we see another round of credit defaults and significant deleveraging like we saw at the end of '08 or towards the end of '08, would we see a repeat of that? Would we see a repeat effect of what happened in '08 where the dollar went up and precious metals went down?
Yeah. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, obviously I didn't call the original rally in the dollar, right? I wasn't expecting that big rally. So that caught me off guard. But I don't think it's going to happen again. I mean, I think that was a head fake. I think that people that went to the dollar were fooled. I don't think they're going to make that mistake a second time around. I think it was a one-off thing. I think, we got everybody's running the wrong way now, and I think the momentum's going to shift back away from the dollar. I mean, I still think that that's the most likely thing to happen, is that the dollar will ultimately collapse. If we get surprised again with another, rally in the dollar, I think it's worth the risk, because I don't think there's a lot of upside in the dollar compared to how much downside there is in the dollar. So I think you've got a lot more to lose if you're in the dollar and it collapses than if you're out of the dollar and it goes up.
Gotcha. Okay, well, thanks a lot for your time.
All right, sure. Thanks for the call. Before I take the next call, and we got a full board now, I was on this show again, Strategy Room, on FoxNews.com again, and I found out for the first time about this incident where an individual was in the airport. And I think you can hear this on the internet somewhere. But he was in the airport, and he happened to be carrying about $6,500 in cash. He got the cash by selling books. Some of them were my books and other books, and he was raising money. It was a political campaign for Ron Paul's organization, or one of the organizations that supported Ron Paul. And so he was going through the airport security, and they opened up his bag, and of course they're screening for contraband, for bombs or things that would potentially be a risk to the aircraft. And they open up the bag, and they see that the guy's got cash in there. He's got $6,500. And so they interrogate him as to where this money came from. Where did you get this money? Why do you have this money? And he starts to ask him, well, am I legally required to answer that question? And of course, he's not legally required to answer it. The police at the airport had no right to even ask him about that cash. Anyway, because he wouldn't tell them, they arrested him. They brought him down to the station. And they kept saying, what are you doing with that money? Where did you get that money? And they're basically, the idea is, it is none of the government's business. It shows you how corrupt and how our rights are being surrendered. These officers are there to look for bombs. They're not there to look for cash. Meanwhile, there is nothing illegal about carrying cash, right? And you're allowed to carry cash, and you don't have to tell government agents where your money came from, especially when they're not looking for cash. They're not screening at the airports. Now, if he was leaving the country and he was taking more than $10,000 of cash with him, then he's supposed to disclose that. He doesn't have to disclose where he got it, and it's not illegal. You could take $1 million in cash out of the country. You just have to disclose it. But if you're not leaving the country, you can walk around with $1 million in an attaché case. You're not breaking any laws. You're not doing anything wrong. And the government has no right to ask you where you got your money, what you did to get there. It's none of their business. You don't have to answer those questions. It's just amazing. And you can hear this thing. I think it's on the internet somewhere. What happened with these thugs? Hopefully they will lose their jobs. And it's important that officers of the law understand what the rights of the citizens are, and the rights that they're theoretically there to protect. I mean, when it's the government that's acting like that, I mean, I'm sure if you're in that situation, you really feel it. And of course, it would have been very easy. Obviously, this individual could have simply told the policeman how he got the money, and they probably would have just let him through. But the idea is it's none of their business. They have no constitutional authority to ask. And I think it's very patriotic that he stood up for that, even though it was very inconvenient for him to assert his rights, because he was trying to catch an airplane. Anyway, next caller is Eric in New York.
Hello, Peter.
Hey, Eric.
Hi. I wanted to, I've read your books, Crash Proof, the little book, and I know that you've been very negative on housing,